Crest for you friends. How's third grade going? Almost fourth graders now, I suppose. So I am here to tell you a story today because your teacher said that I could record one and that they might be able to play it sometime. I've missed telling stories so much that I'm really happy to be able to do this. And I'm hoping maybe I might have a chance to do another one or two and see if they have time to play that as well. So let's start out by doing our deep breathing to get our creative neurons going. So take a deep breath. Inhale through your nose. Exhale through your mouth. Inhale through your nose. Exhale through your mouth. And last one, inhale through your nose. Exhale through your mouth. Okay, here we go. So I am going to tell a story today called Quackling. And it is a French folk tale that was told by Aaron Shepard, and I am planning to tell it pretty much the way that Aaron Shepard told it. So this is a story about a very small, very smart, very hard-working duck named Quackling. And he worked so hard and he was so clever that he was able to save a whole lot of money. And there came a time in the kingdom when things were tough and the king needed more money. So he actually came to Quackling and asked him to borrow some money. And Quackling was quite proud that the king would come to him and ask him to borrow money. So he did. He loaned the king money for the hard times in the kingdom. So he continued to work very hard, and he waited a year, and the king did not repay the money. And he was getting a little irritated that he loaned it to him if he wasn't going to repay it, because he said it was a loan. He didn't say, "Give it to me." So he waited a second year, and he didn't come to repay the money. So he was getting quite irritated right now, and he was finding it difficult to sleep, and he was thinking about it more and more, and he just wasn't as happy thinking about the king taking advantage of him by taking his money. So he decided, though, that he really should wait another year. So he waited a third year. And at the end of the third year, he was quite upset. And he decided that he would go and get a sack, and he would go to that castle, and he would get his money back from the king, because times were much easier now than they used to be. So, now another thing about Quackling is he was very loud. So he was thinking to himself, and finally he just said out loud in his house to himself, "Quack, quack, quack, I'm gonna get my money back, quack, quack." So he started out on the road toward the castle, and it was a bit of a long walk, so he was walking along, and all of a sudden he heard, "Quackling, where are you going?" And Quackling looked around, and there was a ladder leaned against the house. And he said, "Quack, quack, quack, I'm going to get my money back. I'm going to see the king at the castle. Quack, quack, quack." And the ladder said, "Oh, how marvelous. Could I come with you?" And Quackling thought for a minute, and he thought, "Well, I'm not really sure." And he's like, "Well, I guess that would be okay." And so he said, "Quack, quack, quack, ladder, jump into my sack." And the ladder jumped into his sack. He threw the sack back over his shoulder, and he went on to see the king at the castle. So he walked a bit longer, and he came to a river. And the river said, "Quackling, where are you going?" And he said, "Quack, quack, I'm gonna get my money back." And he said, "Oh, that's splendid. Could I go with you?" the river said. And Quackling thought about it for a minute, and he thought, "Oh, why not?" And so he said, "Quack, quack, quack, jump into the sack, river. One can never have too many friends. Quack, quack, quack." So he carried on, and the bag was getting just a little heavy by now, but he kept on going, and all of a sudden he heard buzz, 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 buzz. And he heard, "Where are you going? Buzz, buzz, Quackling?" And so Quackling kind of looked around, and he saw a beehive, and he thought, "Oh, they must be talking to me." And he said, "Quack, quack, quack, I'm gonna get my money back. I'm going to the castle to get the money I loaned the king. Quack, quack, quack." And the beehive said, "Oh, we would love to go to the castle. That would just be wonderful." And so Quackling thought for a minute, and he thought, "Wow, I don't really know, because this is really getting heavy." And he looked inside, and he guessed, "All right, I guess there's room for a beehive. So he said, "Quack, quack, quack. Jump into the sack, beehive. Quack, quack, quack. You can't have ever too many friends." So he continued on with his sack on his back, and he was walking to the kingdom, and he finally got to the castle. And he just walked right up to the guards, and he just looked up and he said, "Quack, quack, quack, I want my money back." And the guards thought, who is this? The goofy duck that talks. So they decided they better go tell the prime minister, who's kind of like the president of the kingdom. So they went and they said, "Prime Minister, you're probably not going to believe this, but there's a duck, a really loud duck out there, quacking that he wants his money back. And he says he wants it back from the king." And so the prime minister went in and said, "Your lordship, the king, we have a very loud quacking duck outside that wants the money back from you." And he said, "How dare that duckling? Who does he think he is? I'm the king. He's coming to get money back from me? I'm the king." And he said, "Put him in the pit. That'll take care of him." So the prime minister went out to the guards and he said, "Please put the quackling, the duck, in the pit." So the guards went out and they picked up the duck and they threw him into this very deep pit. And the duck looked around. Quackling said, "Oh my gosh, I'll never get out." And then he thought to himself, "Quack, quack, quack, ladder, jump out of the sack." And as quick as a wink, the ladder jumped out of the sack and leaned against the side, and the duck just waddled right up the ladder. And then he went right back up to the guards and he said, "Quack, quack, quack, I want my money back. Quack, quack, quack." And the guards just kind of went, "Oh no." So they went back to the prime minister and said, "He's back again. I don't know how he got out, but he's back again." So the prime minister went in and said, "Your lordship, the king," he said, "the duck somehow got out." And the king was furious and he said, "Never mind, put him in the pot." So the prime minister went out and he told the guards, "Put him in the pot." So they picked the duck up and they put him in this giant, giant pot and added water, and then they lit the fire underneath him. And so the duck thought, "Oh, I'm in a stew here. What am I going to do?" And then he remembered he had a river in his sack. So he said, "Quick, quack, quack, jump out, river. Quack, quack, quack." And quick as a wink, the river jumped out and flowed all over the fire and put the fire out. So then he went right back over to the guards and said, "Quack, quack, quack, I want my money back." And the guards just were getting a little tired of this, so they went back to the prime minister. The prime minister went in and said, "Your lordship, the king." And the king said, "Never mind, I will take care of this guy. I'm not sure who he thinks he is, treating a king this way." So he walked out and he was just about to grab the quackling when Quackling thought, "Oh my, this is the end. What am I going to do?" And then he thought, "Aha, beehive, quack, 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 jump right out of that sack." So beehive jumped out and the bees came out of the hive and they started flying around the king, and the king started running like crazy, and he ran and he ran and he ran and he ran. And finally, well, we don't really know what happened to the king because he never ever came back. So they waited a while, and finally the guards looked at the duck and they said, "You know, you're really quite clever and you got rid of the king, so how about if we make you king?" And the prime minister said, "Yeah, we really didn't like that king anyway." So the duck thought for a minute, and Quackling said, "Quack, quack, quack, why not? You can never have too many friends." And so he decided to be king. And that, my young friends, is the story of Quackling. Now, I hope you enjoyed it. I have a couple of jokes for you, and a few knock-knocks, a few regular ones, and then I'm going to stop and say thank you very much for having me. Why did the farmer plant a seed in his pond? Because he was trying to grow, ready? A watermelon. What do you give a sick bird? A tweetment. What goes up when the rain comes down? An umbrella. Okay, when do monkeys fall from the sky? During April showers that we just passed. What flowers grow on faces? Tulips. All right, I'm going to let you go. Bye, guys. I'll see you next time.